The red checkered blanket lay flat, a perfect square of comfort amidst the chaos of nature. Laughter, bright and clear, cut through the thick air. A family portrait, picturesque and idyllic, but the serenity was deceptive. This was the calm before the storm, the silence before the scream. A shadow fell over them, a darkness creeping in from the edge of the woods. The laughter died, replaced by an uneasy silence. And then it began. A low hum growing steadily louder. It vibrated the air, setting their teeth on edge. John scanned the trees, searching for the sound. His protective instincts kicked in. Mary, oblivious, reached for the picnic basket. Her fingers brushed something cold. She gasped, eyes widening in horror. A grotesquely large spider clung to the basket. The creature lunged. It moved with surprising speed. Mary screamed, piercing the afternoon. John watched in horror as it bit her hand. He swatted the spider, a sickening crunch. The creature twitched on the ground. A red welt formed on Mary's hand. Her eyes showed fear. Then they turned cold and calculating. John rushed Mary to the hospital, his heart pounding in his chest. He could feel her gaze on him, cold and assessing, and it sent shivers down his spine. The Mary he knew, the woman he loved, was gone, replaced by something alien and unsettling. He clung to the hope that it was the shock, the trauma of the bite, and that she would be all right. He prayed for the first time in years that he was not wrong. The doctors, their faces creased with concern, poked and prodded. They ran tests, their brows furrowing as they examined the results. They muttered amongst themselves, their voices hushed and grave. John sat by Mary's bedside, his hand gripping hers, his fear a living, breathing thing inside him. He waited, each tick of the clock an eternity. He waited for answers, for explanations, for hope. The diagnosis, when it finally came, was as baffling as it was terrifying. There was no known antidote, no cure. The venom, they explained, was unlike anything they had ever encountered. It was slowly but surely altering Mary's DNA, rewriting her very essence. John listened, his blood turning to ice, his world crumbling around him. Days turned into weeks, each one a descent into a waking nightmare. Mary grew stranger, her behavior increasingly erratic. She developed an aversion to light, her once bright eyes now shunning the sun. Her skin, once smooth and creamy, became rough and dry, like the shell of a cicada. She spoke in hushed whispers, her words a jumble of disconnected thoughts and unsettling pronouncements. Fear gripped the small town. Whispers followed them like shadows. People pointed, their faces a mixture of pity and fear. Children, their eyes wide with terror, whispered about the Spider Lady. John, his face etched with worry, tried to shield his family from the stares and the whispers, but the fear was a palpable thing, suffocating them. He withdrew from work, his mind unable to focus on anything but Mary and Emma. He tried to hold on to the familiar routines, the semblance of normalcy. But it was a losing battle. Their once happy home had become a prison, its walls closing in on them, suffocating them with the weight of their shared secret. The laughter was gone, replaced by an eerie silence, punctuated by Mary's increasingly bizarre behavior. John tried to reach out, to confide in someone, anyone, but who would believe him? Who would believe that his wife, the sweet, loving Mary, was slowly transforming into something monstrous? He was met with disbelief, with pity, with fear. He was alone, adrift in a sea of uncertainty, his family his only anchor. He watched as Mary retreated further into herself, her world shrinking to the confines of their home. She spent hours in the darkened bedroom, her whispers echoing through the empty house. He would find her sometimes, staring out the window, her eyes reflecting a chilling emptiness. He tried to reach her, to break through the wall that had grown between them, but she pushed him away, her touch cold, her gaze distant. Emma, too young to understand the complexities of the situation, retreated into a world of silence. Her once infectious laughter was gone, replaced by a watchful silence. She would sit for hours, her big brown eyes fixed on her mother, her face a mask of confusion and fear. The light had gone out of her eyes, replaced by a shadow of the darkness that had enveloped their family. John watched his wife, his heart breaking. He saw the fear in her eyes, the confusion, the struggle. He knew that somewhere, buried deep inside the creature she was becoming, was the woman he loved. He clung to that knowledge, to the memories of their life together, to the echo of her laughter. It was all that kept him going. He tried everything. He consulted specialists, their faces etched with concern and a helplessness that mirrored his own. He scoured the internet, searching for answers in the cold glow of the computer screen. He tried home remedies, ancient cures, anything that offered a glimmer of hope. But the transformation continued, relentless and unstoppable. His friends, his family, urged him to give up, to walk away. They whispered about institutions, about treatments, their voices laced with fear and pity. But John refused to listen. He had made a vow, a promise, to love Mary in sickness and in health. And he would be damned if he would break it now. He would fight for her, for their family, until his dying breath. Emma watched, her young mind struggling to comprehend the changes in her mother. She missed the bedtime stories, the warm hugs, the sound of her mother's laughter. She didn't understand the whispers, the fear in her father's eyes, the coldness that had settled over their home. She only knew that her mother was different, that something was wrong. She would creep into her mother's room sometimes, drawn by the soft whispers, the rustling of sheets. She would watch as her mother sat by the window, her back ramrod straight, her gaze fixed on the moon. She would reach out, her small hand trembling, wanting to touch, to comfort, but her father's warnings would echo in her ears. She would retreat, her heart heavy, her mind a whirlwind of confusion and fear. She clung to her father, her small arms wrapping around his legs, seeking solace in his familiar scent, his rough embrace. He was her rock, her only constant in a world that had suddenly become unpredictable and frightening. She needed him, his strength, his love, to guide her through the darkness that had descended upon their family. Did the spider's venom truly trigger this horrific metamorphosis? Or was it something else entirely? Was it a physical poison, or a manifestation of a deeper, hidden terror already residing within Mary? Was it the bite itself, or the fear, the isolation that drove her further into the abyss? The question lingered unanswered, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that lie hidden beneath the surface of our lives. John never gave up. He loved Mary with a fierceness that defied logic, that transcended fear. He cared for her, nurtured her, protected her from the world's judgment and from herself. He built a world for them, a sanctuary where love, not fear, reigned supreme. He fought for his family, for their happiness, for a future where the shadows wouldn't seem so dark. The insect incident, a bizarre and terrifying event, had ripped their lives apart, but it had also revealed the strength of their bond. It had shown them the transformative power of love, the importance of understanding, the resilience of the human spirit. It was a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable darkness, there is always hope. A hope that someday, somehow, they would find their way back to the light.